Hi, everybody. Before I begin, I would like to introduce all the people that are standing to my left and to my right. To my left is Lieutenant Brian Strock from the City of Watervliet Police Department, Mayor Charles Patricelli, and the General Manager of the City, Joe Lasaveda. And to my right is Deputy Chief Robert Wynn from the Colony Police Department, Lieutenant Dan Bellis from the Colony Police Department, Detective Sergeant Lyman Ray Conrad from the City of Watervliet Police Department, and our Public Information Officer Matthew Cusson, also from the City of Watervliet Police Department. I'm Joseph Centenni, and I am the Chief of Police here for the City of Watervliet. Thank you all for attending today. There is not one person in this room that will not feel the gravity of what I'm going to share with you today. As members of this tight-knit Watervliet community, parents, and law enforcement professionals, nothing impacts us more than abuse or maltreatment of children. In a sane world, parents are supposed to protect their children, not act as the source of monstrous behavior against them. On October 16th, 2021, at about 8 a.m., the Watervliet Police Department responded to 2402 7th Avenue for a complaint of a 10-month-old baby not breathing. Upon arrival, the officer was immediately escorted to the bedroom where he observed a child lying on his back in obvious distress. As a result, the officer initiated life-saving efforts until emergency medical personnel arrived. Not long after reaching the hospital, it was determined the injuries were consistent with an assault against this child. Since the incident, the Watervliet Police Department conducted an exhaustive investigation to determine not only how, but who is accountable for these vicious acts against this child. It was determined the baby's mother, Samantha Valentine, was responsible for several unimaginable attacks against this baby boy. In addition, upon further observation of the house, it was determined to be grossly unsanitary and inhabitable. As a result, the house was condemned by the Office of the General Manager and the City of Watervliet Code Enforcement. I am proud and relieved to inform you that on October 26, 2021, the Watervliet Police Department detectives arrested Samantha Valentine for the attempted murder of her son. Valentine was charged with 3 counts of attempted murder in the 2nd degree, assault in the 2nd degree, and endangering the welfare of a child. She was arraigned in Watervliet Criminal Court and remanded to the Albany County Correctional Facility without bail. I would like to thank everyone who assisted in this investigation, specifically each member of the Watervliet Police Department. To watch their resolve and determination as they sought justice for this baby boy is one of many reasons why I am extremely proud to be their chief. I'd also like to recognize the Colony Police Department and the Albany County District Attorney's Office for their assistance with this matter. Although this situation is horrific, we are extremely grateful this precious child survived these attacks, and I continue to ask for your ongoing support and prayers for his speedy recovery. Thank you. So at this point, I am going to take some questions. I ask all of you to please be mindful that this is an active, now we are going to have moving forward the criminal prosecution. So based on that, I will do my best. I recognize your needs to provide the community with information, and I'm asking you to please recognize and understand mine also as the chief here, okay? Any questions?
Have there been calls there before?
Seems like
any calls there before? Anything of note from the police department or EMS or anything like that?
Specific to any abuse or maltreatment of children, No, we have not been there in that regard.
Were there other children in the home?
The identity and the specifics about what is going on with who else is in the home or not in the home, in the interest of protecting them and their privacy, they have nothing to do with this offense, and they are not subject or victim to any abuse also. So I am not going to speak to the specifics of other children in the home.
Chief, was the Albany County Child Protective Services aware of this mother and child? Did they have previous interaction with her?
Again, I don't want to get into the specifics about the history as it relates to Child Protective Services for a similar reason than that. I want to protect everyone in the home that doesn't have anything to do with this.
Can you describe some of, you said several unimaginable attacks. Can you describe some of those attacks?
Sure. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this for 26 years. And for those of you who don't know, I spent 25 of them with the city of Troy. And I've had the unfortunate occurrence, like many law enforcement officers, to see a lot of abuse and a lot of really bad things to kids. What I will say is that through the investigation, we have determined that there were a series of attacks on this child over a 4-day period, and quite candidly, I am not comfortable describing in detail the circumstances surrounding those attacks in public. And I'll leave it at that. Any?
Can you confirm whether this is the same woman who was arrested back in 2019 for crimes related to impersonating animals, selling animals?
It is. I can confirm that is her. Yes.
Can you talk more about the conditions in the house?
The conditions in the house, this is a small sample size, but through our investigation, obviously we were in the house quite a bit, executing search warrants and recovering evidence and other relevant items to this investigation, and it took us to the home, and very quickly we determined that it was clearly unsanitary and inhabitable, and based on that we then took the next step and contacted the Office of the General Manager and requested that we initiate an evaluation of that for livability, and quite honestly it was quickly determined that you can't live in there, so we ultimately closed it down.
Had she been showing patterns of abuse? I know that we reported that she had been charged with animal abuse. Did this sometimes be seen as a precursor for dealing with children? Are you able to build anything from that?
Ken, I don't want to get into, again, the specifics of the background. I stated earlier that there is no history of abuse, other abuse against, documented through our department, through abuse against children. Now, it has been reported about the 2019 arrest that occurred in the city of Watervliet. I will tell you quite candidly, I am precluded in talking about the specifics about how that case ended, based on some legal requirements. She is also afforded due process, although that is a separate incident. I am precluding from talking about the specifics, but it has obviously been reported, the circumstances surround that, dealing with the animals and other things of that nature. So this particular time here, when we condemned this home, similarly, we had several animals. We had 6 ferrets, 4 cats, we had a deceased squirrel, and there was a lizard type of iguana. And I am happy to report that they are all now safe at the Hudson Humane Society, being cared for while we work through this process.
Savannah, on the conditions, is there anything that neighbors had informed police or any other officials about over a period of months in terms of the...
No specific reports as they related to the conditions of the home. No.
Chief, friends here from Colony, I recognize them. How did they assist you in this investigation?
We're extremely grateful to the City of Colony. They assisted us with a ton of technical work. They had their evidence technicians come in and support us during the execution of a couple of the search warrants, and their assistance, their equipment, and their resources is invaluable, and we're extremely grateful for all the help that they provided.
We've had a couple of major investigations.
A couple, Ken? A couple?
Right, you seem to be able to leverage assistance from other agencies very quickly. Can you discuss that a bit? I mean,
Sure.
the Colony, you had the FBI, you had the state police.
Certainly. Yes. The transition coming from a larger agency in the city of Troy and coming to the city of Watervliet, that has been an adjustment for me, and I was lucky enough throughout my career to establish many tremendous relationships and law enforcement partners that have helped us through so many critical incidents in the city of Troy. And over here, I have a personal relationship with the deputy chief and Chief Mike Woods. We came up through the ranks together, and we were on emergency response teams together and trained a lot together. So when I made chief, one of the first things I did is I reached out to all the partners over here in Albany County, and I sat with them, and they have been nothing but open and understanding, and have offered every resource they possibly can. Being in a smaller agency, I don't want to say we depend a lot on those other agencies, but the reality is those resources that they bring, we're able to bring in mass, and is extremely, extremely beneficial, and I can't overstate the importance of their assistance in this matter and many other critical incidents we've had throughout the year.
Chief, has she been cooperative with your detectives at all? Has she helped in any way? Without getting into specifics.
Yeah, without getting into specifics, she was interviewed several times, and she provided information as it relates to her conduct throughout the 4-day period that we were really scrutinizing, and that became of critical importance to us and this investigation.
Where's the child now?
The child is in Albany Medical Center, and he is, I'm happy to report, he is doing better. Long-term prognosis I would love to give you, I simply can't, because those medical tests throughout the process, it's going to take quite some time for them to get a final diagnosis of him, but we are grateful that he is doing better. And then further into that, that's a good point that you bring up. I know the emotion that you are seeing here, similar emotion, it's from many others. So this case, I have seen grown men and women that have been doing this for quite some time that have expressed similar emotion to me, that have been brought literally to tears. So, you know, I can't overstate. I have also, through my experience, unfortunately, I have seen many other children die from less abuse than what this poor baby endured.
So it's very hard in these situations, you know, and I know for the police front line, you're seeing it, we're removed. Can you describe the nature of the injuries, or just in general, abdomen, striking, what can you say?
I'm going to choose to stay in line what is public record and what is in the accusatory instruments, and the medical term is I think it's a subdermal hematoma. In essence, the child had some bleeding on the brain, which is very common for these types of instances, and the type of assaults that normally go on under these circumstances with young children. It it was not, the type of injuries were not uncommon.
Chief, sometimes in investigations like this, you find older injuries. Have you come across any older injuries with this child at all?
Nothing specific that I can talk about right now.
Would it be fair to say that those injuries are not life-threatening, or is it still kind of in that?
We're going to describe his condition as stable. We are cautiously optimistic that he is doing better, but you know, he is a 10-month-old child that has certainly endured more than we would ever want anyone to endure in this lifetime. So other than saying I'm cautiously optimistic that he will continue to heal and recover, I'll leave it at that. Okay.
When you said what triggered this, 4 days is an intense period for an infant like this. If you have you know what happened with the mother, what set her off?
I would love to be able to get into the mind of these types of offenders, because I think if we were able to do that, it would help all of us in law enforcement, in addition to many of the other social webs, so to speak, that are able to help in these situations. Unfortunately, I can't get into the mind of others other than what they self-report, but you know, I wish I could, because I think we would save a lot of children if we saw these indicators. I mean, if I had a nickel every time somebody said I never saw that coming, I'd have a lot of nickels in my pocket.
Is this her first child?
I don't want to comment specifically about what other children she may or may not have.
Any other adults in the house?
Again, for protection of their privacy, I'm going to choose not to discuss any of the other elements or other people that were in the home. I can tell you categorically, nobody else in the home was involved. Nobody else, through our investigation, we determined that nobody else in the home was involved or is criminally liable for any of the injuries to the child or any of the assaults of the child. In fact, through the search warrant, what we obtained was video of the assaults, which I will say, through my experience, is extremely, extremely rare. You normally do not obtain video of the assaults. Normally you get the after effects of either a deceased child or a badly injured child. So clearly seeing it on video is a bit, it's different from my experience, and it's talking to a lot of my colleagues and other police officers that I respect that have dealt with a lot of these cases. Similarly, in this particular area, we have not had a lot of them on video.
Can you comment on how that video was captured, whether it were cameras that were already set up inside the home?
Baby cam.
And so that saves the video? It stores it?
Again, I don't want to get into too many of the technical aspects of it, but I am comfortable telling you that we executed several search warrants in this case, and one of them that we executed was on that camera, and we were able to retrieve what I will describe as invaluable information for the prosecution of this case.
Joe, given that's, I would say the word's bizarre. You know, covering a lot of things, you don't see that. You know, in a lot of instances, you know, your officers, people assisting you, it's very stressful. Are you providing counseling for the detectives and officers, your line guys who've seen this? I mean, I know your background, you've seen a lot. How are you helping them cope with it?
Yeah, not getting into the specifics of exactly what we provide, but yes, my first priority, in addition to the oversight of this police department, is most importantly taking care of these police officers. They are my family, and yeah, we're good. Anything else?
I'm not sure if you mentioned this earlier, but can you tell me how you learned of the situation, or was it a call, someone calling in?
Yes, someone within the home called 911, and based on the circumstances that were going on with the child was in serious distress, based on an assault that occurred that morning. So there was an assault on the 13th, there were a couple on the 14th, there was one or two on the 15th, and then there was the one on the 16th, what ultimately resulted in the child going into that medical distress, as we would describe it, and that necessitated a 911 call from within the home. And then our officers, it was in fact Officer Cusson, who responded there and was brought to the child and performed some medical procedures on the child until the emergency medical professionals got there. Anything else? Oh, yeah. Yeah. The lieutenant wanted me to tell everyone that in the office we came up with the term. It's not uncommon. A lot of police agencies do it, but we are describing this child as the miracle baby here in the city of Watervliet. And again, I can't overstate how grateful we are that he is feeling better, and hopefully we can get a full speedy recovery for him.
Once he becomes better, where will he go?
There are many issues on the back end, which is very common. Again, I'll discuss that more in the abstract without being specific to this case. What happens in circumstances when you have children that are the victim of abuse like this and they survive, not only is the arrest of the mom, the detachment, or the dad, or any family member, the detachment from that child, but you have Child Protective Services, you have family court services, and a variety of other social services that get together to come up with a safety plan for that child when they recover. And we have worked in conjunction with some of those agencies and feel comfortable with the safety plan in place. Anything else? Anything? Okay. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for attending this, and appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.